So what you'll see in today's video is an exercise, and it's going to give you an idea of how to create a set of arrayed pipes with a variable height. I had a video created in the past, but in this one I've actually gone over it again and created a list of different steps that we can start with, but let me show you where we end up. We start basically by creating the polyline, which is going to be this line. And then with that, then we set a point, attractor, then that changes the pattern. But here at the end, we ended up with another option, which is a graph mapper. And this lets us pick the location of how many variable heights we want here. And then we have an additional one here that can help us add more detail with a different graph. So let me show you from the beginning how we start and how we end up here. And at the end, we do have the ability to increase this and change the height and have more control. So let me show you how we start, like I said, and that's going to show you how we build up upon one simple script and end up with a lot of different details here. So let me show you that. All right, let's disable the preview on this. And now we're going to go back to the beginning. So here we have our first script, which is the beginning of it, the overall length, the location of where this has the wave, and then the overall amplitude of that. Then I was showing you here how you could just create a subdivided pipe or a subdivided line segment and create some arrays that can be turned into a pipe. So now starting with this, then we go on to the next level, which here I'll disable the preview on this one and enable the preview on this one. All we did here was change the height for it not to be just one number like this one, but this one has a variable or a random set of numbers. So we can change our solution using the seed, and we can change our minimum and maximum using our domain start and end. Now, if you keep it the same, it's going to be the same height. So this is the next step, which was taking it from a regular height to a random height. Now, when you create a random set of numbers, here is the other thing that you can do. I'll enable the preview on this one, and you'll see that these are actually randomly set heights, but they are organized using the organized list. So what it does is it takes all of these random numbers and it organizes them from lowest number to largest number. We can also reverse the list here and it'll go the opposite way. So depending on what controls you want for your script, you would take a different approach. Now this one, we can say minimum and maximum here, but they will always organize from the smallest to the largest. Oh, the other cool thing is that we can change the polyline. So this is just an example polyline that we created here parametrically, but you can set your own geometry from within Rhino and place it in here. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so this one is a point attractor. What we do is we use point on curve to extract a point and calculate how far that point is relative to the other points. And that is what determines the height of these variable pipes. So this does not give you too much control in the sense that I can't double click here and go to 0.5. So that is why I went on to the next option, which is using a curve on point, but this time using an evaluate curve, so I can move this around and be specific. So if I want it at a third, we can go 0.3, and we can also change the minimum and maximum. This. So that is the next level of control, is using this from 0 to 1 to change the location of the start and end. All right, let's go to the next one, disable preview. And on this one is rather than using a point attractor or anything like that, we're actually using a graph mapper. Now with the graph mapper, we can change it here by the frequency of how many times this happens. Or we can go here and change this to how many times it happens, but this is a little bit more control in terms of being able to pick 5 times. All right, let's go here to 1. And then we can also change the height. So if this is maximum, this is minimum. Okay. And lastly, we have a graph mapper that actually has 2 graph mappers. So the reason why you would do that is because when you don't add a graph mapper, you get the sine wave here, but when you add another one like this one, you actually have a little bit more control of how this one then goes through this one, and this one can determine where portion of this happens. So this just gives you more control. And this was a little bit more of what I wanted to do, is go over these exercises that are pretty useful and share with you all the different ways in which we can start with a basic script and go all the way up to more details by keeping your old stuff and then adding on to it. So hopefully you find this useful and interesting. This one should give you some tips and techniques that you can use on many other designs. So thank you very much for being here. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, check out the website. You can download the script for free temporarily and ask me any questions. So thank you very much for being here, and let's jump into the tutorial.